You can't be serious, man. You cannot be serious!
We played the introductory music to Maxine Nightingale singing whatever she sings. He started to jig along with it because he's a musician. And I'll tell you who this man is, Donald. He's this is who he is. He's if I'll just find it here where I'm going. This is how well we're going. He's a singer. He's an actor. He's a dancer. He's an entertainer. He's a podcaster. And he is...
What?
This man who we've got here. And he's a broadcaster. 6 things he does, and on the 7th day he rests. Because he could be godlike. He could be godlike because he is an Australian legend and star, and he is Mr. Brian Manix.
And the last time I saw Manix was in We Will Rock You.
Oh, yeah. Yes, that was good fun.
Now, I knew your name.
Welcome, Brian.
Thank you. Thanks, Sam. Thanks, Don.
I remember your name and Clarissa. Now, the other lady, she appeared on the talent show.
Casey Donovan.
Casey
Donovan.
I recognise those 2 names.
Yes, she's a champion, Casey.
I love that show. Can it just hang on?
Just hang on. I hadn't said a word. You played Buddy and We Will
I
Rock
did,
You.
yes.
Now, hang on. That I watched We Will Rock You twice. I went to the original when it first came out, and then the second one about 2016. The costumes. I thought they were sensational. I know it's not to do with singing.
Yep.
Those costumes, do they take them right around the world? Because they were out. Don't laugh, you idiot.
Did they take him right around the world?
Well, they did because
No, they make 'em
you didn't even watch the show.
Every single show they make him new again.
No, they wouldn't. That's what I'm asking you, Brian. Can you tell me?
They have there's a costume look for the show.
Yes, I know that.
But the cast in England, they have their own costumes. They don't wait for the Australians to finish them and then ship them over there.
That's what I wanted to know.
They build a set of costumes for each production.
You're joking.
I'm not.
Oh,
no,
no.
that's
Because
cost a lot
I
of
was
money.
really impressed. Will you two idiots, shut up. That was the highlight for me, was the costumes, the uniqueness of those costumes. I thought they were sensational.
Well, they were good, the costumes. It was especially good looking at, some of the dancers in their little outfits and that. But, it was great fun.
So, Brian.
What are you laughing for?
It was a question I wasn't expecting.
I was
well,
just
it
going to
wouldn't come
say, Brian, if there's any question I thought could not possibly be asked, if we asked 1,000 questions, the 1,001st question probably would be, now those costumes, do they make them... And fuck me, you've opened up with the costume question off the top of your head, Donald.
Well, there's a lot of people out there like me wanting to know about the costume.
No one in the world would be interested in the costumes. You got a bit spare today. I'm serious, I'm worried
Well, I
about
haven't got any notes, Brian, so this is going to come straight off the top of my head.
Well, that's where that came from. Now, Brian.
Yes.
I was inspired when I started playing football by a man called Graham Polyfarmer.
Oh, yep.
Don, I'm sure, had some people who...
No, I didn't.
Don had no one to inspire him.
No inspiration at all.
When you started the Uncanny X-Men,
Yes.
what was your inspiration for starting it or getting into the business? There you are. Some of your contemporaries, maybe,
my
Brian.
my dad decided to learn guitar when he was about 40. So as little kids growing up, we'd hear dim da da. And then my cousins came down from Currumborough in 1964 to see the Beatles, and I was only 2 or 3. But
I was at the Beatles conference.
what was their costumes like?
No, they wore suits. They wore suits, and I can tell you, do you want to know who the support acts were?
Devlin.
Well, yeah. What about the Flies? I thought the Flies.
The Flies there?
I thought they did before Devlin. The Flies,
Maybe.
they were a Melbourne group.
Yeah. And there was some
Sounds Incorporated.
Sounds
I thought they were
Incorporated.
better than the Beatles. Sounds Incorporated.
Really?
Yeah, I did.
Really? Well, they've kicked on.
Who?
Those Beatles, they were just a flash in the pan.
Well, I hate to ask you this. Is this dating you? You didn't see you're not old.
No,
enough.
I was only 3.
That's right. So I was at the Beatles in '64.
Yeah.
Never heard one word they sang or the screaming went for an hour. People, you couldn't hear a bloody thing they sang.
My brother rang me last week, just going on that. He's looking for the butt. Now, I kept the ticket, the ticket butt to go to the Beatles. The stub, it was at home somewhere. He's looking for it. It's worth $15,000 now, that stub. That's what he rang. He said, have you got the stub? Because I left it at home, I grew up in box. Will you shut up, John? I'm talking to Brian.
Well,
yeah, it's worth $15,000, the stub to that.
I've got tickets for the Beatles framed from Shea Stadium in America that was given to me. Maybe that's worth $15,000.
Well, if so, what have you done with it?
I've stuck it on the wall.
What, framed it?
It's framed on the wall. My friend gave it to me and stuck on the wall.
Brian, I'm sure one of us interrupted you. Your inspiration was your father who started playing the guitar at 40,
and the Beatles.
And then what other artists did you captivated your imagination?
Oh, well, I liked Elvis a lot.
Absolutely.
Absolutely great. Some of his movies, I still enjoy his movies. They're so, especially the one.
What? They're shocking.
Harem Scarum, when the leopard comes to him and he karate chops the leopard, and the leopard's he's out. He's out for the count. And he gets some great jobs too, Elvis. He's always a singing racing car driver or
a petrol pump attendant.
Yeah, or he's a speedboat racer or he's a stunt rider. Oh, he's terrific.
Now, Brian, you've got me. I wasn't going to ask you this right now, but now that you've brought up movies, I only spent one day with you out on the bay one day. You almost know word for word the whole script of Jaws.
Absolutely.
You are a Jaws devotee.
I
Jaws
love it.
1 and Jaws 2. I'm not sure about Jaws 3. Did they make a Jaws 3?
Yeah, it was no good.
No good.
And Jaws 4 was even worse.
Why did you get mesmerised by Jaws? You could tell me every line that anyone ever said in it.
The best line in it is after they've caught the shark on the tug, and the mayor says to them, now listen, now's not the time for you two to perform some half-assed autopsy, and I, for one, am not going to stand around and see that little kitten boy spill out on the deck. And the other one was
Roy Schneider.
So, Chiefy, 1,200 of us went into the water. 348 came out. Sharks took the rest. I know one thing's for sure, Chiefy. I'll never wear a life jacket again. What?
that was Shaw. What's his name?
Robert Shaw.
Robert Shaw.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
That's a great film.
And, of course, the only line I can remember is, you're going to need a bigger boat, which is probably one of the all-time great lines of any movie.
This was not a boating accident. It's also right up there in that. Yeah,
that's right.
It's a great film. It's
he regaled us, seriously.
I've seen it probably 80 times.
Pardon?
I've probably seen it 80 times.
80 times?
I watch it at least once a year.
Oh, it's fantastic.
And my favourite movie?
What?
Pretty Woman.
Yeah.
Pretty Woman.
Good on you, Don.
I can continue. I never get bored watching Pretty Woman.
And you dressed like it today. I'll take a photo. We'll put it on. We'll put it on the social media.
She was classier than that.
She had some nice costumes too.
My word, when she went down Rodeo Drive, I didn't mind the boots either. I thought they were a turn on.
Boots. Apparently, that's not her bottom though. When you see the boots, it's a stand-in.
Really?
The little blue bottom in the dress with the boots.
You serious?
That's a stand-in. Apparently.
How'd you be? I'm an arse stand-in for the movie stars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
You didn't get, Brian said that she had good costumes. You didn't get that.
No, I didn't. I was thinking about her bottom.
No, I went through with the keeper.
I was thinking about her bottom
costumes.
because that was a turn on, the boots and the bottom.
Right. Yeah, it was.
So did you ever go take the band overseas? Well, I know how the band got its name, but tell the listener how the band got its name.
Well, we wanted to call ourselves the Incredible Zonkblonks, but there was already a band in Austria called the Incredible Zonkblonks. No, we were.
Was that a joke? Are you serious?
No, I'm joking.
Oh,
yeah. In the 60s, my mate and my brother and a mate of mine, we used to import these comics from England called Fantastic and Terrific, and in them they'd have the Hulk and Thor and this group of guys called the Uncanny X-Men. And we forgot about them, and then in 1980, we were going out on a Sunday, and the only place that was open was the bookshop. What was it called? Space Age Bookshop. And we went there, and there was all these comics, and we saw the X-Men, and went, the X-Men. And nobody in Australia had really heard of the X-Men. And we thought, that sounds like a punk rock band. Yeah. So that was the name of the band.
Well, where'd the Uncanny come from?
That was on the comic. It was
Oh,
printed
you
there.
said it was just the X-Men.
Well, it was the Uncanny X-Men.
Oh, okay.
And they had some nice costumes too.
Now he's got that one.
What do you do, comedy as well as acting and whatever else?
I just do my best.
If you give him a chance, Don, stop interrupting him. He is one of the most humorous men. I'll tell you why he's humorous, because he doesn't try to be, and he doesn't really know that he is, but he is.
Well,
Don't have to try too hard at anything
You
to be.
try really
I
hard.
try
to be you.
really hard.
I know,
and
you're not humorous.
I fail.
I
but
know.
Brian doesn't try too hard. It just comes naturally. That's what
very
I've learned
trying.
in the one day I've ever known him.
The one day you've ever known him.
I've
we
only
go.
met him once.
On the boat?
One on the boat.
Why, how'd you get on the boat?
Ricky
Ricky who?
Nixon
Oh, he's in
and Warwick.
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 Jeez,
Actually,
we
I reckon Warwick might be that wizard on The Masked Singer. Well, I reckon he'd do it. And there's a guy called the Wizard. Now, he calls himself the Wiz, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Well, why would they have a bloke called the Wizard on The Masked Singer? And he'd be just the bloke to do it. So that's my tip, that Warwick will be the Wizard on The Masked Singer.
So, Brian,
Yes.
the songs.
Yes.
I should know this, but who wrote the songs?
Me.
All of
most of them.
Did you?
Yeah.
That is an extraordinary talent. I know. I'm not blowing.
It's one of my
wind up your
favourite parts.
backside, but to do that, instead of just recording covers and doing them, to
Yeah.
write your own stuff and perform it is extraordinary. How do you have that talent? Where do you get your inspiration to do that?
Well, I think I learnt guitar at Pascoe Guitar School, and you learned all of the current pop songs. And so you'd learn what chords work well together. And by playing a lot of other people's songs, it kind of taught you how to write a song. And I always try to write songs that capture some sort of emotion. Like 50 Years, I wrote that. That one, I wanted to write a song that was happy and sad at the same time, a bit like Old Lang Syne on New Year's Eve. I always find that sort of happy and sad at the same time. So I wanted to write a song that was happy and sad at the same time, and I wrote Where Will We Be in 50 Years, and I think I achieved that.
And
So how long does it take you to write a song?
A good one, not long.
Really, it just comes to you.
Yeah, a good one, you'll sort of go bang, bang, and you go, oh, gee, that's not bad.
What you just get do you write
might
to
just
the
be
music,
doodling
or
around
do you
and-
put music to lyrics?
It could go either way. Sometimes you start with the music, sometimes you start with the words, sometimes it might just be a stupid sentence that somebody says.
The one
Yes.
I found fantastic, Bon Scott, he used to write down, a
Yeah.
term or a phrase or something, he collected like
T-
cold as ice or
TNT or...
tea or something like
Yeah.
that. And then he just put them all together and...
He wrote some great words.
but he took, these phrases or whatever you like and then put them together in a song.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so everybody wants to work. That's just
No, not me. I don't want to work. Yeah.
That's right. But
Yeah.
that's a just a
So-
saying out
Yeah.
there in the ether, and
Yeah.
you put
Well, A Hard Day's Night was something that Ringo said to the Beatles. I went, oh, that's not bad.
yeah.
Hard Day's Night. So it was something that just Ringo said, and they went, right, we're going to write that.
How much has timing got to do with you? I reckon it's a pretty tough industry you're in. You're in the real sharp, pointy end of the season. Not many people. How relevant is timing, being there at the right time?
Oh, I think there's a lot of elements that make a successful song, and the timing is important. What the record company's vibe on the song is. There's a hit single is the product of a lot of people working together. Okay, you might have written the song and that, but you still need Mushroom or Festival to get it out to the radio stations, and need radio to play it. And if all those things come into play, you get a hit record. But it's just getting, say, Perth to coordinate with Sydney with the charts. It's very difficult because Perth was always a couple of weeks behind everybody else. But
So what do you do nowadays? Like it's changed. How you've just put out a compilation album.
Yep.
Which I don't mind.
Oh, good.
Well, but you're covering a lot of songs that I can, I reckon.
you don't mind it, Don.
Well, no, they're very good songs.
Thank you.
And how do you do that nowadays to get that out there? We don't have LPs.
Yeah, look, these days I think a lot of recordings, they're there a lot of the time just as advertising piece for your live shows. All the money's really in playing live these days. Nobody really makes much money.
So you're on the road, are you, all the time?
Yeah, pretty much. Not at the moment.
No, COVID knocked. You were going to do some tours, weren't you?
Yeah, I was supposed to be doing a theatre show with about the Travelling Wilburys.
About the
Travelling Wilburys. We were
theatre show.
I was supposed to be in Perth doing that at the moment, I think.
Yeah, you were, because said that on your bio.
Oh, okay. And so that didn't happen, and I was supposed to do some shows with the Androids, and that's not going to happen. And I also played with Scott Kahn from Kids in the Kitchen and Dale from Boom Crash Opera. And, of course, that's not happening either. So at the moment I'm just...
So you worked on this profession, so not only... So what came first? You being a lead singer, then you tried to work on the profession. How can I go further? Because you've done cameos in films and whatever else.
I started off as a singer, and then I got a job in Flying Doctors. I did, I think, four episodes.
What, is Brian Manix or something else?
No. I was Lionel, who changed his name to Max, and I got my girlfriend pregnant, and I stacked my car and had a little cry. It was fantastic.
So did you do acting, or has that just come to you?
I just fake it until you make it.
Well, you're a front man, so you got to have that bullshit, don't you?
Yeah. Look, I think anybody can act if they get the right role.
What about the other blokes in the band? Now, you've gone on and done other things. What about the Uncanny X-Men? Are they still in the scene, or are they gone out and got regular jobs?
Yeah, the drummer plays in another band called Horsehead, and Chuck played with Darryl Braithwaite for quite a while. And
one of them passed on.
Hey?
One of them passed away?
Nick, our original drummer, passed away
the original
a couple of years ago, yeah.
So why don't you get back together, or personality clashes? Or
No, we do. From time to time, we play a couple of festivals for... Excuse me.
Jeez, I hope you got a mask.
Hey?
Where do you live?
In 3042, yeah. I was
Jeez, what have we got you in here for?
Yeah, so we do, but we all live in different states. There's one in Perth, one in Sydney, one in Queensland, and two in Melbourne, so it makes it a bit difficult.
So how long was the band together originally, and why did you disband?
Okay.
Professional differences, or just you'd been there and done it?
I think we'd been overexposed so much that people were just sick of us, and then radio stopped playing our records because they figured that our fans were too young. They didn't fit the demographic that radio wanted to sell advertising to. And so once radio stops playing you, it's pretty much a slow death then.
And maybe one of the songs they stopped playing was the song that you wrote called Fuck Yeah.
No. that was something it did a couple of years ago. This guy that takes all dance music. So he wanted to do a dance version of Everybody Wants to Work, and I thought, that'll be terrible. And I had this stupid song that I'd written one morning when I was just angry. And it was fuck waking up tomorrow and fuck this and all that. So right. I gave him the music,
the lyrics,
and then they made this dance hit out of it, and it got played in Brazil and all of these. I didn't make a cent out of it, but it got played all around the world, so that was pretty cool.
Well, you were the forerunner of Lily Allen, who has a very big hit called Fuck You.
Oh, well, I think as long as you've got the word fuck in a song these days, you're halfway home.
Yeah. No, so the band, you get back together and rejoin and tour. I was going to ask you about the COVID. I'm not asking you personal business, but you've missed out on a lot of work because of the COVID.
Yep.
Are you the government compensating you for your lost, all the band's lost earnings?
I'm on JobKeeper at the moment, but I don't know how long that's going to last. And I think that probably musicians will be the last ones back to work.
For the very nature of
and I think my next gig will be me and an acoustic guitar, because they'll only have 100 people in a pub or something, so you won't have enough people to make it worthwhile to have a band. So
what about bands nowadays? Are they a thing of the past? Because we see these reality talent shows, and I think there's only two that have gone on, Guy Sebastian and God, who was the other bloke who covered that Choir Boys hit? He was tied with Guy Sebastian. Shannon Knoll. To me, they're the only two that have gone on from a talent show.
Casey Donovan has.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
And Anthony Kalia, he's done well. But yeah, a lot of them just have their 5 minutes of fame, and then we
But
never
what
hear from
about
them
bands? They're not coming through, are they? Like,
No.
they're not getting the exposure, are they?
again. No, bands, it's really tough for bands at the moment. And, it's tough for the whole industry because the whole
Right.
industry's become a TV game show sort of thing.
So how does a band get going? Are there ghettos around Melbourne?
Well,
I suppose
Brunswick,
Melbourne-
there's quite a few places in Brunswick and stuff where bands can play, but they're not paying much money for young up and coming bands and stuff. So,
So how do they get going?
well, I don't know really. I'd hate to. We had Countdown to help get us going. You go on that, and then suddenly you could play in Kalgoorlie, or you could play in Burnie, or
Is
anywhere
that a
in the
thing of the
country.
past, Countdown?
Yeah, it is.
Can't come back in any way, shape, or
Well,
form?
I don't know if it would work as well now because in them days most people only had one TV. And so the whole family would sit around and watch Countdown. Whereas these days, everybody's got about 17 TVs and
the internet and the bloody
Yeah, and
Is
YouTube.
Melbourne
Netflix.
still the capital?
music.
Yeah.
I reckon. Yeah. Sydney's not bad because they've got all the leagues clubs, but I think Melbourne's.
What about Australian acts that could have made it overseas? I know Saints did for a little bit. They were
Yeah,
probably
they were
the
good.
first rock band.
AC/DC.
AC/DC did great.
Yeah, but what about bands that should have made it but didn't? Maybe a matter of time.
I think the Angels should have made it.
Yeah, but they made a bad decision, didn't they?
They left.
They left. I know, the management company.
Yeah,
and thought
AC/DC's
they could do it themselves.
Yeah, that was a silly move.
Yeah.
Skyhooks maybe could have made it. They
Really?
probably.
Do you think so?
Well, they would have had to write the songs about America or something, but.
I thought their last song was good. Women in Uniform.
Yeah,
Those were
that was one of their better ones.
localised, weren't they?
Yeah.
Relating to Melbourne.
Dragon, I think, probably could have
Yeah,
made it overseas. Most of the bands in Australia were good because we played a lot. You'd play 7 nights a week. So we got really good at playing live. Whereas over in America, they might go and record an album and then work out how to play live later. So Australian bands were always better live than American bands or English bands.
Well, do you reckon I went to America and I went to a couple of pub bands. I thought they were sensational. How they weren't discovered. Maybe there's so many bands over there that only very few get to the top.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, if you didn't see the Beatles, these wouldn't have been contemporaries of yours, but the Easy Beats and the Masters Apprentices, were you familiar with any of their work? They were in the 60s.
I was pretty good mates with Jim Keys.
Were you?
Yeah.
Yep.
And one of the best things that ever happened to me, we did a gig and it was in Warrnambool, and this guy owned a meatworks or something in Warrnambool, and he was having this big do.
Midway Meats.
I don't know, it might have been.
I think he owns he's into racehorses now.
Well,
anyway.
Yeah, well, he may well be, Donald, but that's
So anyway, I drive up to Essendon Airport, and then I'm sitting there in this little Learjet, and here's Jim Keys and Russell Morris and Leo Sayer, and I'm sitting there in the plane flying there, and I'm thinking, wow, when I was 14, somebody had told me that I'd be sitting in a plane with Russell Morris and Jim Keys and Leo Sayer. I would have gone, nah, that'll never happen. But it was fantastic, it's great to meet some of your idols, I think.
Probably you didn't want to happen what happened to the Big Bopper and...
No.
I think the plane took out 3 of them, didn't it?
It did, Richie Valens, Big Bopper and Buddy Holly.
Buddy Holly, yeah.
Yeah, and
He was
Waylon.
incredible, wasn't he, Buddy Holly? In 18 months, he was only around for 18 months and put out all of those songs.
Wrote some good songs.
Jeez, they were ripper songs.
Yeah. I believe Paul McCartney owns them now.
He owns Buddy
He
Holly's.
bought the collection.
So what would benefit? Why would he do that?
Well, if they're doing that, say, any time a Buddy Holly song gets used, the songwriting money will go to Paul McCartney. And say that show Buddy, the musical, well, all of the APRA would go to Paul McCartney. That's why Michael Jackson bought the Beatles song.
I was just going to say Michael Jackson bought... I couldn't think of... The
Beatles.
Why wouldn't the Beatles own their own songs?
Oh, they
weren't
just
sharp enough
shonky
to-
deal. They sold them to Northern Songs or something, and I don't know. They lost the rights to their songs.
Now, it said that Channel 9's Wide World of Sports used one of your songs...
Still Waiting.
Still Waiting?
Yes.
As the...
It used to...
Did they pay you the royalties?
I don't
to
know
do
if
that?
they did, because I think you can play a certain amount of a song, but you don't have to pay. I don't know if they did it.
Wow,
I
that's how
didn't.
we
I
get
didn't
out.
write that particular one, so I didn't get any money for it. But it was good hearing Jeff Gibson talking over the top of it, and coming up by Jingo by Crikey.
Yeah,
and
that's
our song
right.
underneath it was fantastic.
Now, you told us about you things that have happened to you on stage. I know you didn't. You told us of. Just tell us about one of the more unusual things that happened to you when you. I think you said you threw up on. Yeah. Who were you back? Were you backing someone then? Or?
No. I was headlining. I woke up and I had a can of Coke and a smoke, which was what I usually had for breakfast.
Yeah.
And then the Rockstar breakfast, can of Coke and a smoke. And I was sitting there at home and I looked at the clock and it was 2:20. So I just got out of bed and I went, oh, hang on, we're playing at 3:00 today at Festival Hall. And so I just went into this mad panic. All the other guys had gone. My mum and dad weren't there. My brother had gone and I was just running around crazily. And there's girls out the front of my house waiting with the thing and they're stealing. Anyway, that's another story. Anyway, I got in a cab and I get to Festival Hall and I'm panicking because it's not the way I normally do things. And I get in there and my manager goes, I go, come on, we're going to be late. And he goes, no, we've got plenty of time. And I go, no, we've got 5 minutes. And he goes, no, daylight savings finished last night. We've got another hour. I went, oh. So I had a Scotch and Coke and then I had another Scotch and Coke. And then one of the roadies said, come here, and a bit of that and a bit of this. And anyway, we go out on stage and it was a 2-act ladies' college or something. They'd hired the whole thing and the band go out and a big introduction and the girls are screaming. It sounds like the Beatles. I rush out there. They're going berserk. They're throwing bras and undies up on the thing.
You were lucky.
We get through the first song and we enter the next one and I'm singing away. I'm going, what we going to do? Where we going to go? And then what came out next wasn't a verse or the lyrics. It wasn't even a cool rock and roll noise like, huh, or get down. It was this liquidy projectile vomit. It came so suddenly, I didn't even turn my head. And it went over and hit the fallback and splashed over all of these young girls at the front. And they're looking at me like, I adored you, but you just threw up on me. And then I wasn't finished. I threw up about another 6 times all over the stage. And then I'm thinking to myself, what the hell am I going to say at the end of this? So the song finishes and I said, look, I'm sorry about that, but I wasn't supposed to be here today. The doctor told me not to come, but I wasn't going to let you people down. And they all thought I was wonderful after that. So, yeah, that was, not your typical gig.
So you said a little bit of this and a little bit of that.
Yes.
I'm not talking about you, Brian, necessarily, but most of the acts and bands and entertainers just don't do it unless they're on substances or never used to be. It's legendary, isn't it? That you've got to have something going on in your body.
Well, no, not really.
Not really?
These days they're drinking water. They're drinking water and having yogurt these days.
These days.
Yes.
Back in the
back in
60s,
the
70s,
good days.
80s, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Look, I think the problem with being in a band is Charlie Watts says, he's been in the Rolling Stones for 50 years. He's played for 1 year and he's sat around waiting for 49.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of waiting around and travelling and just doing nothing.
And particularly when your adrenaline's up from doing a live show, it's pretty hard to go home and get into bed.
Yeah.
If the show's over at 11:30, it's pretty hard to get in to bed by 1 o'clock or midnight.
Absolutely.
You just sit around till the middle of the morning.
Yep.
And
then somebody come and pick you up and take you off to see Donnie Sutherland at 6 o'clock in the morning. You go, oh, no. And
No.
Donnie would ask you some great questions like that you wouldn't even understand them.
Do you like the costumes? Yeah.
Yeah, he'd ask about the costumes.
That'd be...
Hey, listen, it must be an aphrodisiac. I watched Freddie Mercury the other night. I got their CD when they over in Wembley. It must be a real aphrodisiac when you connect with the crowd. When Mercury started doing the scales and he sang Radio Gaga and I just reckon that'd be a real aphrodisiac.
I think it'd. Well, I often sit there and think, gee, it must be great to kick a goal at the MCG. I think that would be similar feeling.
Oh, no, I don't.
I reckon.
Yeah, okay.
No,
if you were starting off again, your children interested in following in the entertainment
My
industry?
daughter's a really great singer, and my son's a DJ and he's got a band. So,
So what advice would you give them, having been in it for such a long time, and would you do it any differently to the way you've done it?
Well, if it was up to me, I would. But
if
it was up to me, I would have done things differently. Like I could never understand that a manager was worth perhaps 5 times what I was getting. You know, I was the singer of the band. I'm writing the songs. I'm the guy getting up on stage, and people are coming to see me, but yet my manager's getting paid 5 times what I'm getting paid. Why is that? That seems very silly to me.
How long did it take you to wake up to that?
Well, you know, I woke up to that very early in the piece, but, you know, oh, no, that's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. Well, I was going, you know, in hindsight, I would say now, well, I don't care the way it is. I want this amount of money per show, and you find a way to get it. Otherwise, I won't be there.
So you're advising your children in a business sense, are you?
I would advise the kids this. I would say pop stars get the girls, roadies get the drugs, and arseholes get the money. That's how I'd describe it.
So you said you'd like to kick a goal in the MCG. You'd get a thriller. Anyone can kick a goal in a football game, potentially, but not everyone. You're too self-deprecating, Brian. Not everyone can stand up, write the songs, play the music, have the crowd, as you said, come to watch you. It must be a tremendous buzz, as Don said, an adrenaline rush to have people come and watch you.
Well, I think that's why we put up with such crappy wages back in the 80s, because you're getting paid with
adulation.
Adulation, yeah, and it's
okay. Now you're a front man.
Yep.
Do you acknowledge other front men?
Yeah.
And if you do, who would be the best front men that you who do you consider to be good front men?
Alice Cooper,
well
I think
done.
he's
Good one.
fantastic.
Best concert I've seen at Festival Hall.
Welcome to my
I went
nightmare.
to.
My
Beg your
best
pardon?
concert too.
Well, I sat out all Friday night with a fellow footballer, Peter Welsh, who's passed away. They were vomiting on the. We slept on the
Could have been
on the
Brian.
asphalt.
Could have been
Could have
Brian.
been me doing a gig.
You were spewing. Oh, shit. They was running down the thing. We were sleeping on the bloody asphalt. 11 o'clock we got our tickets, and I thought it was the best concert I've been to.
I went to it as well, and I think we in this country stopped him using the snake, didn't we?
We might have, because I don't remember
he
the
used to
snake.
have a snake, and I went along because I hate snakes, and I thought, even if he brings that out, I think the nanny country that we were then didn't allow him to use a live reptile on stage. I think that's right, Don. Do you remember him
He's
using
still a
snake?
great actor, isn't he, Alice?
he's fantastic.
And the guitarist, that girl.
He always has good guitars.
He's got a woman lead guitar now.
Yeah, he does.
I think
She
he's-
is magic.
He's erred a little, hasn't he, Alice? Hasn't he been in trouble with... or have I got the wrong person?
No, I think Alice is a God-fearing man.
He's pretty straight. He's into golf.
Yeah, he's
Mad
He's into
golfer.
golf?
He's
a
addicted
mad
to golf.
golfer.
Who is the person... Who is the person that got into a bit of sexual...
Sexual.
Come on, spit it out.
well,
Who do you mean?
I thought it was Alice Cooper. Maybe
Oh,
it's not.
No, Alice
Cooper.
is.
Okay,
Okay,
if he's
you-
listening, I'll take that back.
Okay, Alice Cooper. Who else?
I think Doc Neeson was a terrific front
Yeah,
man.
not bad, was he?
He was good. Mark Hunter was pretty good.
Yeah.
Bon Scott was good.
Yes.
Peter Garrett was good.
Yeah.
Don't know how he'd go if he went on The Voice, but he was a good front man. Look, there's lots. Elvis was good.
Michael Hutchinson was pretty
Michael
good.
Hutchinson
He
was
had
very
some-
good.
I put him up there with Jim Morrison.
Very
Cream.
similar to Jim Morrison.
Yeah, they had something, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
And Freddie Mercury was very, very talented.
Mick Jagger's probably can't go
Yeah,
past
yeah,
Mick.
captivating.
You know, he's 76 or something. He's still fitter than most 30-year-olds.
Why don't females have bands, do you think?
I don't know. I wish they would. I'm sick of seeing all of the dancers
Dixie
behind.
Chicks are not bad, are they?
Well, they're not even that anymore. They're not the
What do
Dixie
you-
Chicks.
Not allowed to
They
call
got
them
rid of
that.
the Dixie because it's
Confederate.
racist.
Well, hang on, what
They've dropped the Dixie because
Why?
it's racist.
how's it way racist?
Oh, I don't know, because of down south, the Dixie.
Yeah, the Confederate Union, Donald. They had to drop the
And
Dixie
now-
chick. Now this is the woke world we live in. They
and
had
now,
to drop
because Chicks is sexist, they're just called the.
I don't mind Heart either. I thought they were a great group.
They were good.
Ann Wilson, yeah.
Yeah.
What's on your playlist? What do you listen to if you're driving around, or what music captivates you?
I listen to, what do I listen to? I listen to a little bit of Kasabian. I love Dean Martin.
Really?
Dean Martin, he's
Oh,
fantastic.
Fantastic. Well done.
I don't mind Johnny Cash. It just
Well,
depends
that's
on what sort of mood I'm in, really.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I like a bit of punk rock sometimes. Yeah. You know, it depends. You know, if I'm feeling sad, you play a sad song. If you're feeling naughty, you play a naughty song. Sort of, yeah.
And I've met my offsider, Rod.
Offside.
How would you go on The Voice, he said.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think I'd go very good at all.
Why?
The most successful acts probably wouldn't, would they?
No, I don't. Those are, like Lou Reed would go no good. Bob Dylan would go no good. Peter Garrett would go no good. Doc Neeson probably wouldn't.
Why wouldn't they be any
Because
good?
they don't sing technically like a theatre singer. You know,
But they
theatre
are
sing-
unique, aren't they?
Yeah, but the criteria with that which those shows judge, there's no room for uniqueness, and that's really what you're looking for. You're
I've been watching on
I know there's a lot of
YouTube-
those singers; they all just sound the same.
I've been watching on YouTube, Brian, a lot of buskers from England.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think they're fantastic. And I just wonder why they've never gone anywhere else except, but they're just repeating, aren't they? They're not unique. They haven't got a point of difference. Is that
Yeah,
right?
Dion Warwick said, never try to fix the imperfections in your voice, because the imperfections in your voice is what makes your voice unique. So if you sing perfect and technically perfect, you're going to sound like everybody else. Does that make sense?
No,
Well, a lot of that-
I'm listening and considering because I just wonder why a lot of those buskers never go any further than busking.
It might be.
Oh, that bloody phone! I turned it. I'm sorry. I turned it off. I
Extraordinary,
tried. I tried.
Seriously. He's a medical marvel. He's the only person I know operating in the world without a brain. It's
There you go.
Thank you.
and-
Sorry.
Hobby? What do you do to fill in the day? Is that what is your hobby? Got any?
Well,
hobbies?
at the
Not a
moment-
stamp collector or butterflies. Or,
No, I make a lot of films and edit things. At the moment, I'm walking more than Rob D. Costello because there's nothing else to do.
He runs.
He was a walker, wasn't he?
No,
you
he
know,
was a marathon
he's a
runner.
marathon runner.
Well, I'm trotting.
You were on drugs when he was running, anyway.
So was the Chinese swimming team. So what do I do?
What do you do with the films?
I just make little film clips of my songs or
What for?
for my own enjoyment. You put them on YouTube, people watch them.
I see.
Yeah.
and you do podcasts?
I do
You
podcasts.
called
I
The
do.
Life of Brian?
Yes, I do.
What do you chat about?
Well,
Better stuff
had-
than we're chatting about here?
Yeah, it's the same sort of rubbish,
Do
really.
you do it
yeah.
with anybody or just yourself?
No, I'm Kevin Hillier and
That's
Rowan
rock and roll.
Rock and Roll with Kevin Hillier and Rowan Connolly, but Rowan's
Rowan Conley, the football fellow.
yeah, he's been crooked though.
Kevin Hillier from Footscray.
Yeah, and Mark Fine's been filling in for Rowan.
He's one of the people called you a racist.
Who?
Rowan Conley.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Go ahead.
Oh,
Well, tell him I'm looking for him.
I will. He seems to upset a lot of people. Rowan on the Twitter, he seems to get on the thing. And, anyway. And then we do the other one, which is me and Kevin, and we have a guest. We had Dick Smith on last week, which was great. He's
The
a great man.
entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Really
How
good
interesting you said that. Now he's onto the Bitcoin. Did you ask him about Bitcoin?
No, he's got so much to talk about, though.
Yeah, he said if you are not fair to yourself unless you're into Bitcoin, he said it is the easiest way in the world to make money and everyone should be doing it.
Really?
Absolutely.
I should have talked to him about that.
Yeah, no, you should have. Because
Oh.
he was advocating before the banks closed it down, he was advocating everyone get onto it.
Wow. I was too busy asking him about driving the double-decker bus over the 16 motorbikes, but and the iceberg that he towed in Sydney Harbour thing.
Is this the Dick Smith, the electric?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't remember.
Flying his helicopter. He's a helicopter.
Yeah, he
pilot.
went around. He went
went
around
around
the
the
world in a
world, didn't he?
helicopter,
In a
and then he went against the trade winds in a helicopter, and he did it without GPS. So he's flying from Japan to Russia, but he can't land in Russia. So he's got a boat, or he's going to land on the boat and refuel. And then the boat gets fogged in, so he doesn't have enough petrol to go back to Japan. So he thinks he'll go over to Russia and hope they won't shoot him down.
Right.
And then the fog clears, so he just makes it onto the boat. You know, he could have killed himself so
Why
many
can't
times.
we get some interesting guests like that, Johnny?
Yeah, you're struggling today.
You couldn't. Talk about diplomacy. You could not believe you
Well,
could not.
you get the talent. I just sit here.
I should have worn a better costume.
Why?
we-
Why you look good in
Why
black.
can't we get guests like that? We've got the main man here, Brian Manix, Uncanny X-Men, you dumbass. What is wrong with you, boy? Holy shit.
Don't swear.
Oh, well,
We're
come
appealing
on.
to a broad audience here.
Oh, goodness me.
And now, I know this is pathetic. These are the Dorothy Dix questions, but people are fascinated by this. What was your... So... You would have got your license in
79.
70s?
79.
What was your first car? Are you into cars?
Yeah, it was a baby poo brown Toyota Corolla.
Yeah, I know exactly.
Corona
the
it was,
I know
yeah.
exactly the car, the
Yeah.
model, yeah.
Baby poo brown. It was a horrible looking car, but you know.
Well,
it
why did you
worked.
buy it?
Well, I'm not really into cars. I get scared getting in a car. I was in an accident when I was very little, and I just don't really like. If I never had to get in another car, I'd be quite happy. In saying that, I came second last in the Grand Prix, Celebrity Grand Prix race in 1985. So that's all right.
In Adelaide,
Yeah,
did you?
yeah. Oh, mate.
What were they driving then?
Front wheel drive turbo Accordias.
Honda, Honda Accords? No.
Turbo. It might have been Honda. I don't know.
no.
Accordias. Yeah, Mitsubishi.
Oh, I saw them. Beg your
Front-
pardon,
front-wheel
yeah.
drive,
I
yeah.
remember them, the little box things.
Oh, you look, it was terrible too.
Yeah.
I was hopeless at it because they got the concrete up.
Yeah,
And
I
you
drove
can't-
in it over there. We drove ex-police pursuit cars when I was the...
Well, you could drive. Ken Cunningham. but, you know, they've got the concrete up and you can't really see whether it's going to be a right-hand corner or a thing. And that corner going into the straight in
Yes,
Adelaide,
I know.
it's about a 270 degree.
is, yep.
Well, the first time on the lap one, I go around and it's suddenly, oh, crikey. So it's... and into the dirt.
That's
and
it.
then I'm so slow going up the thing and then, oh, geez, that was embarrassing.
course.
Come round again, next time, same thing again, into the dirt. I did it every single time.
Yeah, but you'd be
and I got
just-
that helmet on, and I could hear the punters at the corner just laughing at how bad I was at it.
Yeah, but you're at a disadvantage anyway. You should have a few cushions in your car.
Well-
What did you see over the dashboard?
Oh, I just wanted to get a taxi and sit in the back with a couple of bikini girls drinking champagne, but they wouldn't let me do that,
And
so
the
I had
first
to
thing they
drive.
tell you, Brian, it's probably they didn't tell you or you didn't listen, is when you come to corners when you're car racing, slow. Can you believe it? He's turned it off 3 times. Slow into the corner and fast out.
That's right.
As opposed to the other way around.
Yes.
People go hard as they can into the corner and then wonder why they're slow, just accelerating out.
Well, Murcott's taught us,
Yeah.
and I still, when I'm playing video games, I still remember my racing
That's
lines,
it.
and you're always trying to make the car go as straight as you possibly can.
That's exactly
Yes,
right. Yep.
yes.
And now finally, Brian Manix.
Yes, indeed.
What football club, AFL football club
Gee,
could...
this is a corny question.
I
He's
said,
going to ask him,
get-
which do you barrack for?
Well, I was going to... couch
Which
it.
costume?
I was going to...
Don't start doing comedy.
I was going to... I told you, he's a bit more humour, and he's got more humour
Than you.
in his little finger than you got in your entire body. What AFL side could say they're very proud to have you as a follower? See, this is a different way to ask it, Donald. Proud to say that you are one of their fans. Who do you follow?
The Mighty Bombers.
The Bombers?
Haven't been mighty for quite a while, but
Well, you grew up there, I suppose.
yeah, I grew up in Oak Park, and so it was either North Melbourne or... well, my dad barracked for Collingwood, but he said, you boys should barrack for North Melbourne or Essendon. So we went for Essendon and never looked back.
And who was one of the men that one of the players you admired most? Who's one of your heroes?
Oh, well, this is silly, but I really, really liked Gary Moorcroft because he was
Holy mackerel.
because he was short. He got stabbed, and he still he got stabbed on the weekend. But he rolled up to training on Tuesday, and I saw him playing in a practice match before he made the seniors, and he got kicked in the side of the face, and he just kept going for the ball, and then he had a punch on a push and shove with Damien Monkhurst, who was about 2 foot taller than him. And I just thought he was courageous. I just really liked him. You know, you like all the
Little
others.
short ass.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, he was tough, though.
Yeah, he played up at Sylvan too when he finished playing. That's a bit of...
Yeah, I thought he was great.
Took a great
I love
mark,
Tip and
didn't
Woody
he?
at the moment, and I'm
Who?
really... Tip and Woody, I think, is fantastic. And I'm really looking forward to seeing Irving Mosquito play.
Yes.
Yeah.
Big
Good
mosquito.
one.
Yeah.
Good one.
It sounds like a Jewish Aborigine. It's just the best name. You know, we'll all be there going, Mozzie, Mozzie, Mozzie. Oi, oi, oi.
Well, Don, we have been very lucky, despite what you say. We've been very lucky.
I'll give you
to
Dick
have
Smith's
an
number.
Australian entertainment legend.
I had a lot of questions written down, but this all came off the top of my head.
I can tell by most of the questions you asked, they came off the top of your head, particularly the opening one about the costumes in Buddy, or when he was Buddy in We Will Rock You. Brian Manix, thank you very much for joining
Thanks
us.
for having me,
You
fellas.
Cannot Be Serious, and all the best in your
Cheers.
future endeavours.
Thank you very much.